On this week's FAS TV, we're in the East Neuk of Fife at Ardross Farm. Claire and Nikki have strong farming values and are dedicated to following in their dad's footsteps, rearing quality pasture for life livestock, enhancing biodiversity and providing local food for local people.
Hi, I'm Claire Sloan and I am the youngest sister of the family that work here at Ardross Farm, and I look after the farm side of the business as well as doing everything else that's needed.
Hi, I'm Nikki's daughter and I am involved with the farm shop, the diversification on our farm, so I manage everything from the staff to the social media to what we buy and put in the shop. My background in agriculture is growing up on a farm. I studied geography at university, which was environmental science. So I learned a lot about the environment and biodiversity and things, but actual agricultural experience is just being on the farm with Dad for a long time.
So again, I don't have a huge background in agriculture. We grew up on a family farm, and then I saw my dad and mum working all hours God sends for not a lot of money, and I thought I would do something cleverer and go away and be an accountant. So I got a joint honours degree in accountancy and finance, and then learnt that my dad had it right all along and that farming was a lifestyle and a way of life. He always said that you should do what you enjoy and you wouldn't work a day in your life. So about 10 years ago I decided to come back to the family farm, and I've been here ever since. So we are tenant farmers here at Ardross. Ardross is 360 acres and we grow a variety of cereals, winter wheat, spring barley, beans, oilseed rape, and we also have grass for our cattle and sheep, and then we take grass out and about, so we rent a further 400 acres of grass out and about to keep our cattle and sheep going. Our cattle and sheep are all grass-fed, all pasture for life certified, so it takes quite a lot of grass to keep them going and make sure we have enough silage for the winter. Pasture for life is something that we stumbled upon basically at a point we couldn't afford to feed our cattle grain, and we started looking at alternative ways, and we started to really improve the silage quality that we fed our cattle, and realised that with the breed of cattle we've got, which is stabilisers, our cattle didn't need grain to fatten, and we were able to do that just off of grass. So we started doing that for a couple of years, and then customers started coming into the shop and asking us about what our cattle and sheep were fed. At this point we started doing some research into it and realised all the benefits of grass-fed beef and why our customers were so interested in it. At that point we realised there was a certification called Pasture for Life, which comes out and audits us on the farm to make sure that our cattle are 100% grass-fed. And we're also listed on their website as a supplier of grass-fed meat, so lots of customers come to us through that website.
Our customers are very diverse. The aim of our farm shop originally was to give local food to local people, so we're very much invested in that. We want it to be somewhere that local people come, they can do a shop, get as much as possible from us rather than going to a big supermarket, and use us on a daily basis, if not a weekly basis. But we're very lucky in the East Neuk of Fife that we are a holiday area, so we get holiday makers that are really interested in local food, Scottish food, and they come in just to see what we're doing. Lots of self-catering cottages in the area, so they come and actually do their shop with us for the week. We also get lots of camper vans, so they're in getting supplies, so it's very diverse. And then the day trippers, we're very lucky in this whole area that we've got a huge local food ethos and lots of amazing little companies. So we actually get people coming from Edinburgh, Glasgow, further afield for a day trip to the East Neuk, and they fill up their freezers with our meat, with fish from the fish houses, and go on to the amazing cafes and restaurants.
So we had to change our business considerably when we decided to sell direct to the consumer. We used to just calve once a year. We've changed that now to calving 3 times a year to make sure that we have a continual supply of fat cattle for the shop. So once a week we are going through to the slaughterhouse. At the moment we use Shotts Slaughterhouse, so we drive through there every Wednesday with at least 1 cattle beast, if not more, and some sheep. That then goes on to our butcher. He butchers it after it's hung for 28 days, and then it comes back into our shop. So we have fresh meat and lamb and mutton every week of the year. So we sell lamb boxes, we sell whole and half lamb boxes, but we also sell all the individual cuts if people just want to come in for an individual cut. We can sell beef boxes as well if that is what customers want, but we find most of our customers like to come in and pick the cuts that they want themselves and pick exactly what they want to buy. We learned fairly early on in our business that to make this business sustainable, that we needed to use every part of the animal. That first of all started off with a problem that we had too much stew and braising steak. So we started a commercial kitchen where we make our own steak pies, mince rounds. We also make ready meals of sausage casseroles, meatballs, anything that we couldn't sell through the shop. We then tried to add value to and make it slightly more convenient for our customers. We took this further and we now roast down all the bones and make bone broth or bone stock. We also render down all the fat, which makes amazing beef dripping for Yorkshire puddings and for roast potatoes. And we've even taken this further and we are now making our own soaps with the beef tallow and bringing that back into the shop too, to ensure that we are using every single part of the animal that we possibly can.
A typical day for me, wow. So retail's actually, there's quite a lot to it. When we first started the shop, we had no idea. We just thought we'd sell meat, but we have to get the shop ready for customers. So our team all arrives in at 8 o'clock in the morning, and there's fridges to disinfect and clean out, floors to wash, to sweep, displays to put back together. So we've got an hour to make the shop look amazing. We want every customer to step through that door and have the same experience. So there's a busy hour to begin with, and then the team set off and they're very good. We've got a fantastic team on the floor, so they're pretty self-sufficient. They're unloading deliveries, they're serving people and keeping the shop going. And I disappear up to the office, which is probably my least favourite place to be, but turns out that's what happens when you start managing a business. Depending on the day, I could be speaking to our suppliers. We deal with hundreds of small suppliers and a lot of them individually deliver into us. So that involves an email or a phone call to them, seeing what's in season, what they've got, and when they can deliver to us. I do all the social media, so I'm forever phoning, texting the farm people, the shop people, asking if they're doing anything interesting today that I can come and film or take pictures of.
I don't do enough of that.
Generally they tell me to get lost, but occasionally I can sneak up when they're doing something interesting for social media. I also look after the website, so you're forever trying to look for content, recipes, things that are going on the farm, to write blogs, make sure that all our online shop, it's just a small online shop, but it needs to be up and running. It's Christmas at the moment, so we're taking Christmas orders. I designed the Christmas brochure. It's really massive job, to be honest, but I really like it because you're doing something different every single day. You're jumping from accounts to designing to actually serving in the shop, so it's very diverse. So our values are really important to us. It was something that from the very start we wanted to make sure that people came into the shop and they knew who produced the food. As farmers, we're often, we are at the very bottom of the food chain, and there's all sorts of things going on in supermarkets with fake farms and things that are misbranded. So we wanted to make sure that our customers came in and they knew exactly the person or the company that made the food. So we spend a lot of time ensuring that we know personally all the people that produce the food and that can translate to the customers. We want the customers to trust us. From a retail point of view, that means that at any point our customers can come into the shop and say, so what's happening on the farm? And we can say, tell you what, come with us and we can show you. It's really important to us. I don't know when it happened. I think it was a gradual process, but I think from a lot of points of view, the relationship between customers and farmers have broken down a little bit. So we think that as a retail outlet, we can bring these people back onto the farm and we can show them. So anything that has our logo on it, people can trust that we have made it ourselves, it's been produced ourselves, and it's with ingredients that they would use at home.
So a typical day on the farm normally starts with us checking cattle. So we go around and check all the stock, make sure they're all fed and watered. And then I normally come back and just make sure the shop's all opened up and it's all organised for the day. I then go on to whatever is happening on the farm at that time. So at the moment we're actually kind of tidied up. We have got all the harvest finished and all the crops have left the farm, which we're quite thankful of. Our potatoes are all lifted, so wheat's all in the ground. So we're now looking on to next season's crops. So at the moment we're planting garlic, and then this afternoon I'm going to bring in some of our cows that are still outside, thankfully, to this nice weather that we've been having. We've still got them out. So we're going to bring some of them back in, and then I'm going to wean some calves later on this afternoon. So a typical day really just depends on the season and what is happening, but normally involves livestock of some sort. And I suppose that brings us to the values on the farm. We've had to change everything that we do on the farm because we are now no longer just loading our products onto a lorry and that's the last we see of it. We are now having to stand at the other side of a till from our customers, so we really have to focus our business on what's important to our customer. So in terms of livestock, they're really interested in what our cattle are fed. They're interested in how they're reared and how they're raised. They're interested in the vaccinations or the fact that we do no vaccinations. They're interested in the health of our cattle. And it's the same on the vegetables. They are very interested in soil health and how the vegetables are grown, that they're pricked fresh every day. So these are all things that we have to be very important to us on the farm and make sure they transfer. So on the farm we have a herd of stabiliser cows and also a flock of easy care sheep. Now from my sister's point of view that does all the marketing, she'll tell you that that's the worst thing about doing the marketing for the farm is the breeds of cattle. Stabilisers and easy care sheep are not an easy sell when she's trying to do it. If we had something nice like Angus or Blackface or something that people had heard of, it might be easier to market. But from a farming sense of things, they are just perfect for what we're trying to achieve. The stabilisers focus on all the aspects that we are most interested in a cow. They're easy calving, they're really good mothers, they've got enough milk to feed their calves, they're very good temperament, they just make our life so much easier. They're small carcass size, so the cows can stay out wintered for as long as they can without any issues. They are just perfect for everything we're trying to do. The easy care sheep are the same. They molt all their wool, so we don't need to worry about shearing the sheep throughout the season. As the weather gets better, the wool gradually falls off, and as it gets colder coming into winter, they put back on wool. They are very self-sufficient. At lambing time, I go into the field in the morning at night to make sure that everything's all right, but we're all outdoor lambing with no real involvement for ourselves. We've only got 130 easy care ewes, but out of that last year, I think I lambed about 4. So again, it makes my life easy. I call myself the lazy farmer. Anything I can do to make less interventions, we try and do. Our philosophy is that the cattle and sheep are happier without us, so if we can try and do that, that's the best thing possible. Biodiversity is something our customers are really interested in. It's hugely important, the environment, the biodiversity, our soil, all of these things are key to our customers. They're also key to us. So by that end, we direct drill on our fields to ensure that we're keeping soil structure together. Quite a lot of the farmers in this area, we're really lucky, have joined up and we all plant wild bird seed mixes from the RSPB to promote ground nesting birds, and they've seen huge increases of those kind of birds in this area, which is wonderful to see. We also realise that pollinators are hugely important to everything we do on the farm, so we have got our own hives of bees. I've got 10 hives of bees that I move around the farm depending on the time of year, and we also harvest the honey from these hives for sale in the farm shop.
We've been part of Scottish agritourism for years, probably about 10 years now, and it's a really important thing for us to be involved in. The industry as a whole is incredibly supportive. We meet up regularly, everyone's really open, helpful, and knowledge transfer within farming is really important, but a lot of us are stepping outside our comfort zones and diversifying, whether that be a cafe, a shop, an event, an honesty box. There's so many different ways that you can diversify now and bring people onto the farm to bring that connection, and it's completely new to us all. We didn't know anything about retail when we started, but we've got this huge network of over 200 farms now that are all getting together regularly and sharing knowledge, helping people become more efficient, and jumping over all those steps that 20 years ago took us ages to work out what wholesale meant or what an EPOS system was. These are all things you need to learn. So I think it's really important. More and more farmers are diversifying, which is great. It's great to see people coming onto the farm and to have the support in the background with experts and within your industry helping you just makes the whole process a lot easier and more enjoyable. We've got good socials as well. We couldn't run this business without an amazing team. It's been a big learning curve. We have 3 people on the farm and they have been with us for as long as Claire and I can remember. Jim's in his 80s and he still checks the livestock every morning. His son has been working for us as soon as he could drive a tractor basically. In fact, he used to get on the school bus at the road end of the farm and get off at the next road end and then just work on the farm. He loved it so much. And then Scott's son also worked for us. So we just thought that this is what employing people were. They're part of our family, they're part of our everyday, and we love working with them. Then we opened a shop, and what we didn't realise was that retail isn't really an aspirational job. People come into retail because they're waiting on another job, or they're retiring and they just want an easy job, or they're at university and they come and work for us in the summer, which is brilliant, but it's definitely been a big learning curve for us. We've worked really hard to make it a really nice place to work, and we're really proud that most of our staff have been with us for 6, 7, in fact somebody just got their 10-year birthday award with us, so we have got a really amazing core team, and to be honest we couldn't run the retail or the farm without them on the farm. Claire sometimes thinks, oh, I think we should go and, I don't know, spray a field, and just at that she looks out the window and Scott's already turning into the field. So having that synergy with them and working for such a long time with them is really important. In the shop, we've got enthusiastic people who are really engaging with our customers. They are really passionate about local food as well, and they are basically our ambassadors, because Claire's on the farm, I'm in the office doing paperwork, so they really need to be fantastic. As a family, we also work really well as a team, which I think is really sometimes quite unusual, but we're very lucky that we're very different, all of us. Claire was an accountant, she likes things in columns, she likes stats, and her her desk is incredibly tidy and clean. I'm airy-fairy, so Claire tells me.
Definitely.
I like doing marketing, my desk is covered in piles of paper, I love engaging with people and working with the team, and then Mum, who we basically couldn't run this entire business without her. She started the shop 20 years ago and she's the linchpin that holds everything together. Mum's out in the farm shop at 5 o'clock in the morning. She's looking at what needs done for the day. She's baking off the steak pies. She runs the commercial kitchen. She creates all the recipes and everything in between. And we are very fortunate to be a family that we really enjoy working together. In fact, when we ever get days off, we spend time together out with that.
You should say that on camera.
No, but we do. We just love it. And then our other sister as well, she was potentially the only one that was sane enough, and she got a job out with the business, but she was here all weekend working with us as well, and we have great fun and we really enjoy it when she's here, so it's definitely a team effort from everybody.
So our business is probably slightly different from many family businesses. My dad took over the farm here when his dad died when he was 22. So by the time we came along and we were interested, my dad had already had a really good shot at farming. He still had all the enthusiasm for it, but he really wanted to push us forward and let us run with our dreams and just be there to support us. Having said that, he spent a huge amount of time researching, and it was him that found the stabiliser breed. It was him and my mum that decided to open up the farm shop, and he had a huge amount of kind of new ideas, and he knew which direction he wanted to push this business. Unfortunately, around 5 years ago, my dad passed away quite suddenly, and we were left to take on the business at that point. And it really is our goal to carry on what our dad started. He always said that when he was dying that he was really sad because agriculture, he thought, was on a kind of turning point and a revelation, and there was going to be so much change in agriculture over the next 10 years and he was going to miss it, and we really appreciate everything he started for us and really want to continue with his dream. So yeah, we mentioned that my dad died quite suddenly. He was actually combining a field of spring barley when he became ill. And after that, we decided, as a little homage to him, that we should keep some of that barley aside and malt it and make a beer. At the time we were working with Ovinston 109, and he rigged up an old car radiator and tried to malt the barley with that to make the beer. It worked to some point, and my sister got married a year after my dad died, and we were able to drink some of my dad's beer at the wedding, which was lovely. But we never managed to do it on a commercial scale until Nikki was speaking to Danny and Alison Milne that have got crafty maltsters outside Auchtermuchty, and they said that they were able to malt some of our barley. At this point I was very excited because I still had about 350 tonnes of barley in the shed, and I very excitingly said to Nikki, how many tonnes do we need to make beer? Turns out not very much. I think he used about 350 kilos of malt. But they did malt our own barley, and then we sent it to St Andrew's Brewing Company, and I went up there and spent a morning with them where they were making our beer. And at the moment it's getting bottled, and it should be available to sell in the shop in the next 2 weeks at the end of November. So we have Rob's Lager finally making an appearance in the shop before Christmas. The advice I would give someone who is either coming back to work in agriculture or starting a diversification is to do something that you love. We work way more than I was working when I was working in the accountants. I don't get weekends off, I don't get evenings off, but I love what I do. And if you do something that you really love, then it will work. You have the passion to see it through. So make sure whatever area of agriculture you go into is something that you really enjoy. There's so many jobs and so many opportunities in agriculture that you will find something.
My advice to somebody working or beginning in agriculture would be to don't be afraid to leave the farm. There's a big world out there. There's hundreds of thousands of people doing different things, whether it's better than you, worse than you, different than you. And it's really important to go out and learn from other people, and then you can pick which route you want to go. Sometimes it's just following on the footsteps of a generation and continuing that, but sometimes you've got a slightly better idea or a different idea, and the only way you're going to figure that out is by going out, travelling, meeting other people, going to meetings, and to be inspired to come home again and work in your beautiful farm.